I started using drugs, I believe, at a young age. It started with not wanting to be emotionally attached to anything. I had a traumatic childhood where things were done to me. I was molested. I was raped. I was abused. In the home that I was being raised in. Being abused as a child and molested, and these were by people that I knew, family, friends, and my mother. She did majority of it. It was emotional, mental, as well as physical. At the age of, I want to say 11, I started experimenting with smoking cigarettes, a little bit of weed, and some alcohol. By the time I was 20, it was cocaine, and then I popped some acid. By the time I was 20, I had already had my first child. By 21, I was married. By 21, I had my second child. I married an abusive man that was like my mother. We got divorced. It wasn't until after we separated and got divorced that I started using crack. Started out recreational, and it ended up being something that was my worst nightmare. And I used crack from, let me see, from the age of 27 until 37. I used drugs, so I couldn't feel. I wanted to numb my emotional pain, because I was suicidal. And I didn't want people to know exactly what was bothering me mentally. So it was easy to numb myself, to numb the feeling. In 1990, my mother died, and the progression took off. I wanted to numb the feeling of losing my mother, but still I was caught in a drug. I lost my children maybe 9 months to a year later. I was trying to go to a program so I wouldn't use drugs. Losing my children wasn't part of my process that I wanted to do, so I tried to avoid that. But God has his way of doing what he needs to do for you, and my children were taken from me. Oh, God. And that was the most painful moment for me. I was lost. I didn't know what to do, but I didn't want to feel the pain of losing my children. So I got deeper into using drugs. When I lost my children, the best thing for my children was, instead of being placed in foster care, they was placed in kinship. Kinship is part of foster care, but it's when family members take care of your children. My visitation rights were open for my children. I could see them at any time. I didn't have to go to a drop-off center and see them. I could go to my sister's house, but it had to be supervised. I've seen my children a few times, but the pain of leaving them relived itself every time I had to go home, because the pain of going to see them and leave would bring back the initial onset of when they were taken. I went to my sister and I said to her, please do not take my children away from me. She was going to adopt. She didn't think I knew. And I asked her, don't take my kids from me. But in the midst of asking her not to take my children from me, I said to her, whatever is in the best interest of my children, do it. My sister adopted my children. And eventually my children told me they wanted to be adopted because they needed to belong to someone. And I got it. And my sister did what she did. She did it in the best interest of my children. Best decision that was made. I remember using drugs and saying the only thing I needed to do was lay down because I was already dead. I just could not figure out why God would not let me go to sleep and not wake up. I didn't want to wake up anymore. At that time, I guess I was going to use drugs until drugs killed me. That didn't happen. That wasn't God's purpose for me. I had no idea that in the midst of all of this, God was there, and I couldn't see Him. Everything that I loved had to be removed. It had to be removed. I realized that it was for a reason. In order for me to get back to where God wanted me to be, I had to be stripped. And my most precious moments of being just between me and God is those moments that I ask for help. I don't know what He's going to help me with. I don't know how He's going to help me. All I do is go help. Like, I don't know what to do. Help. And that moment that I did that day, I was numb, I was high, but that moment was a sincere moment between me and God. But it took 6 years from the time they were removed until the time I got clean. I can remember going to this here program and telling this woman who was my counselor that I wanted to get my children back, and I asked her, how can I do that? And she said to me that that wasn't the most important thing at that moment for me. And I looked at her and I thought she had lost her mind. But what she said to me afterwards was, what's important for you right now is getting clean and staying clean. And everything else will fall in place. I did not want to be satisfied with what she said, but it made sense. And I remember when I said, okay, I didn't know what was going to happen, but I said, okay. And I said, God, whatever it is that you want me to do, I will do it. Well, God was telling me, if you do this, I will give you this. And I did what God was asking me to do. One day I was sitting at someone else's house. There was a knock on the door, and the lady said, your daughters are here. And I was like, what? And my daughters came and they said, yeah, we went looking and we went asking, and they told us she was here. Like, that was nobody but God. And they had not known that by that time I was already in the process of not using. And we went outside and we talked and we laughed, and then a couple of weeks later they came back again. I got my children back in a way that was different from most people. Most people get their children live with them, they're in their lives. No. Within 6 months, I'm talking about going to my sister's house every weekend, staying even when it was holidays, staying with my children, and building a relationship with my children. When I look back at it, God did something for me that was phenomenal. My kids could have been in foster care and I might have never seen them again. I might not never know what my grandchildren were. I might not never know what it would be to have love for children that your children gave life to. I would have never known what they would be as adults. I would have never known the feeling of being loved beyond measure. I watched my daughter graduate from high school. I watched her stop calling me from my first name to calling me mom. I watched my youngest daughter get married. I watched my youngest daughter have children and be happy in a relationship that only God could have done. My moment of God is my children. God stepped in when the government said no. The government said, you can't have your children in your life. God said, here's your children. The evidence of someone telling me you could never recover from using drugs. God stepped in. I don't use drugs. The loving, caring God that I've met through this journey has been beyond measurements. He hasn't failed